Namaste, Mabuhai. I'm Aparna again with Soul Yatra Unfolds. Today is in continuation with the series of the previous one which I made on breathing. I'm going to talk about alternate breathing and look into the details and share with you the findings, what I discovered about its benefits on our health. I suffered from migraine for many years. I think when I was very young, in my 20s, I developed this migraine problem. So sometimes I wouldn't even know what would be the trigger. I would think it is hunger, I would get pang of hunger, or was it just lack of sleep, or was it something, back of my mind worrying me. As I grew up in life and, challenges increased and tougher times came in my way, it got worse. And it reached a point where, you get a very common tablet in India called Saridon. So I would have one. Then I started having two. And they reached a stage where I would have 3 or 4 every day. I know it sounds quite, as if I'm exaggerating, but that's the truth. My friends know. And when I was living when I would be in Philippines, I would ask friends, if they would ask me, what do you need? I would say, just get me packs of Saridon. And of course, because of this huge intake of Saridon every day, it began to show its effect. So I think later I learned why I started feeling digestion issues, liver impacts, black spots on my cheeks, which is called the liver reaction. And I could feel that it was not doing good to me. I had no choice, working in a BPO where you work in the night, you struggle to sleep in the daytime, and you continue to suffer this. And I would always attribute it to stress, to worries, or to probably the lifestyle I had. Coincidentally, from my work, I was doing a troubleshooting work, and I was deployed in Delhi. And I used to live in a guest house where I was alone. So after finishing work, when I would come with no family, I would just look at, watch TV. And I happened to see someone who was explaining how migraine could be, cured by breathing. And that caught my attention. I said, oh my God, I've been suffering this for a long time. So I'm trying to remember. It was someone from the Brahma Kumaris. I think she's very popular, and I'll recall her name and share. So I would listen to her, and I started practicing that every day in my guest house there. That's where I actually started. So I learned it on my own by looking at, we had YouTube's videos, and I would do that. But I did it very, very in a dedicated way every day, and I would do it for 20 minutes, every day, preferably when you're not eaten much or you're light stomach. And I began to see that it started working. And so I was like amazed, wow, it's really working. And so that thing kept me going. And it's been about I think this was in 2010, so close to 14 years now. And I've never had a migraine attack after that. But now curiosity built in that, how did alternate breathing help in curing migraine? So, this curiosity, propelled me to get some answers for it, and I'd love to share that with you now. So what do you do in alternate breathing? So you breathe from nostril, you hold the other one, then you hold the breath. And then after a few seconds, you release it from the other nostril. Then pause, then you again breathe in from the right nostril, then you would hold and release from the left nostril. So here is what I'm sharing, which I concluded after getting cured of migraine and by learning through listening to different doctors who I put it together. So let me tell you, I did not get an answer from somebody in a clear fashion, but this is what I was able to put together by listening to various speakers who really understand this well. One of them is, of course, the famous Dr. B.M. Hegde. So what I understood, that every time you breathe in, and then when you hold, and then when you release, what you do, you invoke your parasympathetic nervous system. So when you invoke your parasympathetic nervous system, your digestion process kicks off. Now, how is that going to help your migraine? So now, let me give you another perspective to it. So when we breathe in, the breath what goes inside takes 5 positions. So you could relate it like in an organization, different portfolios it takes in. So you have HR, you have technology, you have operations, right? So when you breathe in, part of your breathe is meant to concentrate in your lower part of the spine, where you have this coccygeal plexus, or what we call the Mooladhara chakra. This is a plexus of nerves which is released from your spine, and when you breathe in, it forms an energy zone there. That is what we call chakras. So that portion of air which resides there and concentrates there is called the Apan Vayu, or Vayu means air, Apana means gravitational, downward. So that Vayu or that air is supposed to continuously go down. That it is Apan Vayu which helps us in our excretion process. It is what helps us walk. It helps our lower limbs. Right above that, you've got the Manipur chakra, what we call, or the solar plexus. That correlates with your Manipur chakra. So when I said Manipur chakra, it means solar plexus. So the air there is supposed to move in a circular fashion. That is called the Saman Vayu. So imagine, we breathe in, there's a portion of air which goes inside and gets into a discipline, it doesn't come up. Then you have an air which is circling around your belly portion, which is supposed to take care of all your organs which support digestion. They are also the organs of creation, right? And then you have the cardiac plexus or the Anahat chakra. Now the air here is only supposed to breathe in and breathe out. It is supposed to be outward bound, which is called the Pran Vayu. Now above that Pran Vayu, from your neck upwards, the air what is there, what is supposed to be there, take care of that portion, is called Udan Vayu. Now Udan Vayu is what controls your speech or facilitates your speech and every activity in your head area, and this is upward movement. So Apan Vayu is downward, gravitational, and Udan Vayu is more towards going upward. In fact, they say that if you were able to control your Udan Vayu and your Apan Vayu, that's where people can even levitate. So it's not something what's impossible, or it sounds like something very spooky. It can be truly done. There are processes in yoga where if you practice it, you control your breathe in certain fashion, you could levitate. Coming back to my migraine problem. So now what is the root cause of migraine is when your Apan Vayu, instead of turning clockwise and going downward, if it starts to go upward, then it pollutes your Saman Vayu, or the air portfolio which is controlling your digestion. So that's why before a headache or a migraine, it's very common for us to feel a pang of hunger. But that's not truly hunger. It's actually indicating that there's something not okay there. But we usually mistake that feeling to be hunger. Once it crosses the Samana Vayu, now that Apan Vayu is reaching your Prana Vayu. Now what happens when it reaches your Pran Vayu? A polluted Samana Vayu and your Pran Vayu cause the feeling of nausea. So very often you will understand from people who suffer from migraine that they have nauseatic feeling, or you feel like puking, right? And then eventually it hits your Udan Vayu, where it hurts all the capillaries in your brain, and that results in migraine. So if you can take a tablet and fix it, but you've not fixed the root cause, correct? So what does alternate breathing do? So the moment when I did, let me say, so I took a deep breath from my left nostril, you hold it. So when I held it, this air now started to first clear the capillaries in the brain. I would say the cells in all your body, it started to bring back them to their original state of what they should be in. And breathing from left and releasing from right also now is bringing back all these breaths into rhythm. So from your central spine, where all the nerves pass, and then they open up at different places to form the plexus, which are correlated with chakras. That's basically chakra, junction of energy. When you're breathing in from left, we call it the Chandra Nadi, or what we call the moon, the female energy, and the right is the Surya Nadi, what we call the male energy, what is the yin and the yang. Or if you look back home, we call it the Shiv and the Shakti, the male and the female. So the right energy zone tends to invoke your sympathetic nervous system. The left flow of energy invokes your parasympathetic nervous system. So remember, in one of my episodes I mentioned that when you are in sympathetic nervous system, then you get into this fight or flight response system. But now when you breathe in and you breathe out, you are bringing these both systems into equilibrium. Hence, this apan vayu, which was supposed to go down and it had started coming up, is forced to go back in its normal circle, rhythmic circle. So you didn't have to do anything, but just by merely breathing, you were able to fix this problem of headache. So that's what happened with me, which I realized much later. What is good about these breathing exercises, they don't fix one area of your problem. So they did not just fix my migraine. What they did, they helped me continuously bring my state of mind or body into the rest and digest system, which is a parasympathetic nervous system. So what that did, that helped my body release happy hormones. It helped me refurbish my immune system. It made me healthier, not just by fixing one brain problem, but overall physical health was also taken care of. Another way to look at it is when you deeply exhale, you invoke your vagus nerve. We'll talk in another episode more details specifically about vagus nerve. But what does vagus nerve do? Vagus nerve is literally like a switch to invoke your parasympathetic nervous system. It works with your brain, and vagus nerve is the only pair of cranial nerves which actually passes through your all critical or most important organs in the body. The moment you exhale, you activate your vagus nerve like a switch, and then that switch invokes the parasympathetic nervous system. So the more I did this alternate breathing, I started to fix not just my brain problem, my migraine problem, but it also helped my digestion. Apart from that, I'll tell you few more interesting things. When you exhale deep and strong breathe, every time you do that, this breathing inside through your nose in that long wisp fashion actually works just like an angiography would work in your body, angiogram. What does it do? You literally pump air into your pulmonary arteries to clear the clogs of your artery. When you are breathing in this every day, you are cleaning your pulmonary artery, the 3 important pulmonary arteries of your heart every day, which are the root cause of formation of clots, which eventually lead to heart diseases. So you will prevent that heart disease every day if you keep doing any kind of breathing exercise every day. So look at the benefits. You're not looking at one, you're looking at so many different things. You breathe in, you hold your breath, you're continuously enhancing your cognitive intelligence. Please see my other episode to look at the science behind how does holding breath helps your brain capillaries to open up and function more. And then the most important, because of this activity, I help so much in my digestive process, because every time you exhale, you're invoking your parasympathetic nervous system. So your digestion process is continuously on. Will make sure that you don't have any toxins in your gut lining, because the more your food digests, the healthier you are, right? Because when metabolism takes place, what does it do? It makes getting all the nutrients, it's separating all the unwanted junk which is passed out. So you'll realize that by doing this exercise, your bowel movements will get better. People who have high constipation issues should also try this, because you'll also see that constipation is so related to different problems in our lives. Headache is very common with that. So I hope this was interesting. This gave you an idea about the science or the logic behind why breathing exercises can fix so many of our day-to-day problems. I'll be back with more interesting experiences, so stay tuned in. And so don't forget to like, subscribe and share. And of course, ring the notification bell. Thank you so much.